Good afternoon, everybody. I bring you greetings from the Board of Pensions. I think it would not be an understatement to say that we've been riding a big wave for a long time. And it's very interesting that our instruction manuals don't tell us how to stay afloat during a pandemic. I think the board has discovered that, much as the local churches have said, wait, where's the manual on how to Zoom an administrative council meeting? However, we could turn to the story of Noah who planned ahead, but then I just have this image of trying to get masks onto elephants. So maybe that story's not gonna work. But the Board of Pension, as well as the annual conference, as well as local churches, I think we've all been building an ark, safeguarding our future. Somewhat contrary to what might be expected, the impact on pension funding and health insurance premiums has not been catastrophic. Our Board of Pensions investment portfolio continues to outpace our original projections for the year, and that's a good thing. We remain in positive territory. On the health insurance front, after anticipating a 5% increase in health insurance premiums for 2022, we're very pleased to announce that there will be no increases to our Kaiser and Sutter premiums. Now, before we get too excited, this is not due to Kaiser and Sutter having an open heart experience. They, in fact, wanted to charge us and will be charging us a 5% increase. But what has happened is that we have had a favorable experience with our health reimbursement arrangement, that HRA, the reserve account, over the past year and a half has continued to grow. And it's in a healthy state, and we can't do anything with it other than apply it toward insurance. So at this point, we are going to do that. We're going to pay the 5% increase, so your insurance should be the same as it is for this year. Keep in mind that in 2023, we may be in for a shock because the church is not paying the 5% right now, but whatever percent increase for 2023 will take a jump over that 5% and then maybe another 5%. That's kind of how insurance works. So be thinking about that, and if you have a sugar jar someplace that you put your money away into, be thinking that you might be saving ahead for what will happen or how it will be experienced in 2023. So during this time of challenge, world challenge, American challenge, church challenge, we have two principles that we have taken to heart. First, don't panic. We often make our worst decisions when we panic, and stock market volatility is not the new normal. It's built into its DNA. It's always going to be volatile, so don't panic. We will continue to see large swings in the market in the future. It's hard not to get caught up in the frenzy of calamity, but we are long-term investors with diversified portfolios. And second, stay the course. We find ourselves in the middle of a storm, but our strategy and Westpath's strategy to growing retirement funds is based on a focused and disciplined approach to wealth management. This has been referenced earlier, and I want to say it kind of slowly so that you can have some images coming into your mind. For over 130 years, we've been providing benefit support to the California-Nevada Annual Conference, and we have weathered many storms. Think about the great earthquake of 1906. How did the church get through that? There was World War I and the Spanish flu, the Wall Street crash of 1929, the Great Depression, then World War II. Do you have images? There was the stock market crash of 1987, the dot-com crash, September 11. What did that do to us? What did that do to our markets? The 2008 Great Recession and, moreover, denominational fractures and mergers. We've been doing this for a long time. So now we get to navigate another challenge, another pandemic, and the uncertainty it's brought us, and which perhaps is teaching us that uncertainty is the one thing we can be certain about. So through all of this, we have remained steadfast on providing thoughtful and consistent management of the funds and programs that you entrust to us. Long-term financial security is foremost in our minds and drives the decisions that we make to serve you. We bring two recommendations for action. Let's see. I'm going to start with item 5, if that's okay. It comes from the Board of Pension. Item 5 is in your packet. It's something that is very familiar to us all, I would hope by this time, because we bring it every year. And it has to do with the authorization for declaring housing allowance for retired pastors as well as pastors on disability, to declare their any income that they get as retirees or on disability, to declare it as a tax-free amount of money, what we call the housing allowance when we're active. So that comes before us as basically the authorization that is required by the conference, by the Book of Discipline, and by the federal government through the Internal Revenue Service. They want to know that the annual conference supports this action. Bishop, item 5 is before you.
Item 5 is now before the body. Any questions, comments? I see no hands. I believe you're ready to vote. If you would support item 5, having to do with the retired clergy rental and housing exclusion, would you raise your hand? Thank you, friends. If you are opposed, would you raise your hand? Thank you. Is there anyone abstaining? Thank you. It is fully supported.
Thank you. The second item is item 4, so we're moving a little bit backwards here. And this second recommendation from the board is also in your packet. For the past 40 years, we have brought an action every year to ask the annual conference to set what's called the past service rate. This is for the pension that what is now Westpath established pre-1982. So if you were in active service during those years before 1982, you have a particular pension that applies to those years, and as time goes on, other pension plans have developed, and the 82 has stopped, but when you retire, it is still very much alive for your pension, for part of your pension. So this recommendation is coming to you is coming to you with a new methodology. Yes, even the Board of Pensions, like the Bank of England, does sometimes come up with something new. So this year, we're proposing a new way of figuring out what amount should we give, do we have, for those pre-1982 years of service. In the past, we have come with a percentage, a 1.2-ish percentage, and that's been routine, and it changes a little bit from year to year, but we agree with it. But we're doing something different that we think will be good for the retirees as well as for the Board of Pensions. What we recommend is that the past service rate remain at $913 per year of pre-1982 service. And then that we, the board, provide an additional grant to eligible participants based on the Social Security cost of living adjustment for the incoming year. To give you an example, the Social Security Administration recently announced that the 2022 COLA would be 5.9%. So let's take that 913, the base rate, and multiply it by the COLA by 5.9%, and that would yield a grant of $53.87 per year of service. So then what we do is we have the 913, which is the base, and we would add to it $53.87 for every year of service. And that would be almost $967 per year of service. Now, I could give you, what did we used to call them? Story problems in math, where you have the train is going at this, no, we aren't going to do that. But let me just share some of the factors that have gone into this. Our most recent practice has been to maintain a 1.2% ratio between the past service rate and the conference average compensation, the CAC. However, recently, due to changes in the tax code, our conference average compensation has risen unexpectedly because of the inclusion of moving expenses and shifts in compensation related to individual health insurance plans. So all of a sudden, the average compensation has gotten much larger, and making it work out equitably has become difficult. Secondly, the Social Security COLA provides a more consistent and sustainable factor in computing future increases. Third, and this is important, a grant distribution from the Board of Pensions eliminates future stated liability for the pre-1982 pension plan and lowers our annual costs for providing the same level of benefit. For example, if we were to raise the PSR rate to $967 a year, our liability payment at the end of this year would be increased by approximately $750,000. But by paying the increase in the form of a grant, our cost is approximately $100,000, because we, the board, keep in our funds the money for the grant. I'm sure that is crystal clear. But the really good part about this is that the recipients of the pre-1982 pensions will get at least as much as they're getting now, possibly more, depending on what the COLA is doing, and it saves the Board of Pensions money. So everybody wins. And their checks, they will probably be getting 2 checks, both coming from Westpath, one labeled, here's your base rate, and the other labeled, here's your dessert. So you get both, but they both come from Westpath. So item 4 is before you.
Delightful item number 4 is before you, friends. What an amazing report. Any questions, comments? I think we're ready to vote. If you support item number 4, would you raise your hand? Thank you. If you are opposed, would you raise your hand? Thank you. If you are abstaining, would you raise your hand? I would declare that this item, too, has received unanimous support.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's thank our Board of Pensions and Health Benefits for their work. I see a person with a question, microphone number 3.
So Dave Samuelson, Point Pleasant, Elk Grove. I serve with Chris and Paul on the Board of Pensions, wonderful board. They do really great work. I want to go back to the healthcare, and healthcare is a huge part of our cost as church. One of the things that's happened in recent years is that a number of people have done what I have done, and that is shift to the Covered California, the ACA, Obamacare. And just to tell you how that works, my church pays $6,000 for my family's coverage. It's through Kaiser. It's great coverage. And it would cost $24,000 more, to go through the conference plan. So the subsidy is a great benefit, and pastors in particular are well suited because housing allowance is not considered part of the formula. So we qualify for a larger subsidy than many people. So keep that in mind as you come to work on budgets and you just can't make things meet. You might look at that option, and we are not suffering, my family or I. So, by the way, California coverage is the best in the country.
Thank you. We are concerned not only about our clergy, but about our churches as well. So thank you. We are grateful for the work of the Board of Pensions and Health Benefits. The Chief Officer for Board of Pensions and Health Benefits is Paul Ekstrom Fernandez. So let's thank Paul as well.